Hey guys, it's me, and welcome to my first ever challenge run video. Now, you may be asking, what am I, a professional idiot, going to be attempting in this video? Well, I suppose you've read the title already, but I'll tell you anyways. Today, I asked myself the question, can you beat the entirety of Bone Lab's campaign without jumping once? After this idea sprang into my mind, I did a bit of testing and found out that it was kind of easy. So, I decided to add a few extra rules to this challenge. Number 1. This is the most important rule in this entire run. I cannot jump once. Now, what am I classifying as a jump? Well, every instance where my feet leave the ground other than if I physically press my jump button is fair game. For example, things like climbing, vaulting an object, or doing a slight bunny hop due to walking over an object are all acceptable. Number 2. I must play with the weakest avatar in the game, that avatar being a skeleton. If you don't think he's that weak, here are his stats. Number 3. I can't switch avatars. If the game forces an avatar switch on me, I will force myself to switch back to the skeleton, no questions asked. And finally, number 4. I can only use one weapon for the entire campaign, the frying pan. Why this weapon specifically? I don't know, it was just kind of there at the start of my game, so I ran with it. Don't judge me, okay? Now, with our rules set in place, it was time to attempt the challenge. These first two levels didn't really have anything extremely difficult happen, but I'll go over them anyways. When I began the very first sequence of the game, I found out something pretty interesting about the skeleton avatar.
Look folks, this stainless steel signature edition blade will cut through anything. But it's not going to stick around long at the nice price of $19.99.
Yep, I guess this avatar just doesn't take any damage from the noose at the beginning. From there, I grabbed my pan, made quick work of my skeleton brothers, and came to this lever. Oh boy. Our first roadblock. But not really. I just moved a couple of objects around, climbed on them, and then managed to push the lever up with relative ease. For a few moments after this, I had a pretty calm run, bashing some enemies in the head with my frying pan along the way. But, after exiting the first vent and dropping down the first pit, I was met with a new problem. Omni projectors. I thought they were going to be a major problem in this mini section, but I found it fairly simple to either avoid them or sneak up and kill them. After falling on this escalator, somehow, I completely obliterated this null body and made my way into the elevator, reaching the Bone Lab hub for the first time. At the hub, I went straight to the airlock section, vaulted myself over a couple of things, popped open this massive drain plug, and jumped into the newly uncovered pit. Upon loading into Long Run, I realized that my only way through the first area was by dealing with these Omni projectors. At first, I was quite intimidated, but I soon realized after raising the gate that I could use a combination of both sneaking and brute forcing my way through this area. I turned this crank to lower a path and advanced to the next section. As I dropped down into this next section, I was not prepared for what I had to get past. This null body was the least of my worries. The main problems were these two turrets among multiple Omni projectors. With virtually no cover provided for my frying pan, I suffered multiple deaths. I was already losing hope. But then, I thought about my rules. I had found a loophole. The fourth rule says I can only use one weapon for the entire run, but it never says anything about shields. So I picked up this trash can lid and finally made my way through this room. No, I don't want to hear anything about this in the comments, okay? It's not a weapon, and I never used it as one, so be quiet. Please? After beating up these crablets and somehow dodging all of these Omni projectors, I had made it to, here. I don't know what to call it. Other than adding one death to the counter, I was doing pretty good. I carefully moved a box to get up to this pathway, and then proceeded to take down every Omni projector in my way. if you thought that Mine Dive would have its own long and drawn out section of this video, you would be wrong. Trust me when I say this. The entire level was just this. Yeah. Big Anomaly was pretty straightforward. The main thing I had to do was vault myself over some things once in a while also bashing everyone's head in. I had reached Big Man Jimmy in no time, getting thrown backwards at lightning speed into an elevator and starting the first of the Avatar missions. Street Puncher is where the first of many forced Avatar switches would happen, but wouldn't be counted as I literally could not avoid these triggers without cheats. Again, I don't have much to say here, as it was pretty easy to not jump, as well as be able to take out all of the required enemies with my trusty frying pan. After beating this final guard to death, I could finally move on to the next level. Surely it couldn't be that bad. Could it? Good ol' Sprint Bridge, or as I like to call it, the Run Killer. Now, you may be wondering, why is it the Run Killer? Well, I'll show you in a moment. The first section of the Run Killer was fairly simple to navigate. Even these Omni Projectors were no match for me. But that didn't stop this level from being one of the most difficult to complete. After getting this box onto its respective button, I was presented with the first real challenge of this level. This dumbass ledge. I saw it and immediately knew I needed a little extra height, so I started with this box. But this idiot destroyed my box. So I had to resort to trying to pull and perfectly adjust one of these concrete blocker thingies. Yeah, this took a while, but I eventually got it in a good enough position, and I launched myself off the map. Great. I managed to get on top of it this time. The ledge was just barely out of reach. After thinking for a bit, I had figured it out. Pan. Not only was it a good weapon, but it was also useful for just barely being able to pull me over this dumb ledge. Again, I don't want to hear anything in the comments about this either. Other than having to maneuver myself around this ledge, this next mini section was pretty smooth sailing. Until the fateful moment happened. This jump right here forced multiple more deaths to add to the count, as well as a realization that no matter what I did, I could not make this jump. I tried finding objects, even trying to use a dead null body to boost me, but nothing worked. I had to break Rule 3 and switch avatars. This was truly devastating. The run had died. However, I didn't want it to end there. My goal was still the same: beat Bone Lab without jumping. From now on though, I wanted to see how few avatar switches I could get away with. So I switched back to the skeleton, and oh no. Even with my trusty frying pan, I couldn't vault this ledge, forcing me to switch my avatar once again. After this devastating turn of events, my confidence was low. I finished the rest of the level demotivated. If there's one thing that I want to say about Magmagate in terms of this challenge, I would just have to say that it tested my combat skills and then some. After completely failing once, I thought for sure I would have to succumb to another avatar switch. But by some stroke of luck, on my second attempt, I seemed to barely scrape by. If you remember anything from my comments on Mind Dive, Moonbase was just as boring as that until I got to the structure where the button to advance me to the next level was. Eventually, I did land in a good enough spot to finally be able to press this button, all without jumping. Whew. Monogon Motorway is probably just what you'd expect. I got in the car easily and just drove the 3 laps. Nothing exciting, really. Pillar climb actually wasn't that bad and was fairly straightforward until the fight with the orb thing. I don't know what this is called. Please someone tell me in the comments if you know what it is. I climbed and died once and climbed until I eventually started to fight this orb for the first time. Yeah, this was not gonna be easy. The annoying bird-like creatures mixed with how short I was, and only having a frying pan as a weapon, made this section so much harder. I was once again beginning to lose hope. Until eventually. Had finally beaten this orb thing and was officially done with all of the avatar levels. I met up with big man Jimmy once again to receive the strange glowing key he had kept in his back pocket, getting sent back to the hub upon touching it. I then opened this very inviting and not at all suspicious exit chamber, broke the ominous floating box inside of it, and began my ascent. The beginning part of Ascent was frankly just annoying. I hadn't taken into account how difficult it would be to drag around a bunch of massive spherical boulders as this weak skeleton. I made a hole in one though, so that was cool.
Nice shot!
After getting through this really tedious area for an avatar of my size and sending every null body in the null body room into the Shadow Realm, I made it to the climbing portion of the level. It was all going fine until... Whoa, before y'all say anything. That little hop that I just did was me crouching and then quickly uncrouching to hopefully gain more height, which didn't work. And that is part of the rules. It doesn't break the rules, okay? I want to hear it in the comments. Again, this new roadblock forced me to either change my avatar again, or look for some sort of item back on myself for a boost. So, I backtracked. And there it was. A metal table. Perfect for me to stand on. I was saved. I brought this beautiful saving grace back to the spot. I couldn't Hold on, I have to deal with this guy first. Give me a sec. Anyways, after that stupid death, I managed to eliminate the threat and finally place the table in the perfect spot for me to reach the rope. When trying to reach these ropes in this section, though, this happened. Yeah, I had to die to get rid of it. Well, there's another death on the board. I did have to take a different approach after my method of trying to reach these ropes didn't work, but I did eventually get to the other side. I beat up these enemies, made my way through the pipes, beat up more enemies, successfully climbed up some pipes to switch this battery to the other side, after somehow getting it stuck on top of the place it needed to be, and made my way over to the giant treadmill. Uh-oh. This was the part of the run where I almost completely gave up. Not only was I banned from jumping, but I wasn't fast enough to even get on the treadmill, and I couldn't find anything to give me a boost. I was lost. Was this it? Was the run completely dead? Then I thought of something. Ammo boxes. There were 2 on the upper level in this room that I could bring to the treadmill area, stacking them on top of each other, and hopefully getting enough height to get on the treadmill. So, that's what I did. When I had the boxes set up, I climbed onto them and... they broke. My only option. The one thing I could think of to get me past this. Gone. Unless I could magically find another way. I either had to give up or give in to an avatar change yet again. Then, this happened. By some stroke of luck, I had found a spot I could grab onto. This was it. This was my ticket to getting on this cursed treadmill once and for all. So, after some careful maneuvering, I had finally done it. Once I was on, it was a terribly slow but rewarding walk. After this boost of motivation, I stormed through the remaining sections of Ascent, bashing enemies' heads in left and right. I felt unstoppable. As I reached the lift that would take me to home, I knew I had to focus. There's no time to mess up now. This was it. As I traversed through the level, I was getting rid of enemies with ease, having all the confidence in the world. In no time, I had reached the giant doors. I proudly opened them, walking to the windmill and grabbing the oh, not again. I was stuck right at the end of the game. I tried moving some of the ceiling tiles that had fallen into a specific place, give me more height. But even that didn't give me enough to reach the windmill blades. I had once again been stopped at a major roadblock. I was going to have to do one final avatar switch. But then, I remembered something. Do you guys remember earlier when I did a bunny hop by crouching and then fully standing straight back up? The thing that doesn't go against the rule? What if I did that here? Would that give me just enough height to reach the blades? So, I tried it. With that, we had done it. That small bunny hop gave me the perfect height to grab the windmill blade and climb all the way up to Jimmy's hand. I was relieved. The challenge was over. So, is it possible to complete the entire Bonelab campaign without jumping once? Yes, but only if you completely negate the avatar rule. I did have a lot of fun trying to figure things out in this challenge though. So if you guys have any other challenge ideas for me in this game or a different one, let me know down below in the comments. Also, my apologies if this voiceover is kind of bad, or if the script was kind of choppy. This is my first challenge video like this, so if you can cut me a little bit of slack, that would be awesome. I'd like to take the time to go over a few other announcements as well. My More Seismic channel is now my music channel, so that, yes, I do make music, so if you want to go check that out, I have links in the description for that. And my Clips channel is now my Extras channel, so I will also have a link for that channel in the description. And one more thing, I do have a Discord, so if you'd like to join that, pretty please do join that. I'll have a link for that in the description as well. So yeah, that's how I beat Bonelab without jumping a single time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.